right, let's see if we get this thing working here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, and we are live. So the crypto markets have woken up. All right, we've seen an explosion in cryptocurrency prices in the last month. Last week alone was absolutely insane. We saw a major announcement that BlackRock has filed for the historic Ethereum ETF. You know, Bitcoin has made it almost to $38,000. ETH is back above $2,000. Solana's above $50. Okay, altcoins are popping off. Meme coins are popping off. NFTs, DeFi yields are back. This seems like a complete 180-degree turn from the bearishness, the relentless bearishness we've seen for the past 2 years. And, you know, this has turned heads, and people are wondering, hey, is the crypto bear market over? Has the 2024 bull run started now? Well, I want to do this emergency live stream on my channel today. It's the first live stream we've done in a very long time on this channel to talk about exactly that, okay? So I'm going to exactly weigh in on what I think is happening, talk about the recent news, why it's such a big deal, and where I think we are headed from here. So I'm talking about all this as a blockchain developer myself who has been through multiple cycles, who's worked this technology every single day since 2017. So if you're new around here, you know, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's what you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to get ahead of the crypto explosion that is coming, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. I should become a blockchain master step by step from start to finish. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's see if we got people jumping in the chat here. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. We got technically automatic beats. Julian, it's definitely some old faces here. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this. So the crypto markets have woken up. Let's talk about the insane explosion we've seen in crypto prices in the last month. Let me just pop over my screen here. A little bit rusty on some of the live stream controls here, so bear with me, everybody. So we saw a major announcement this past week where BlackRock, you know, the world's largest institutional asset manager, has filed for an Ethereum spot ETF. That's definitely one of the biggest pieces of news that's happened in a very long time inside the crypto space. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons that we're seeing such a massive sentiment shift in addition to the prices pumping. So let's jump in and talk about that. So if you're not familiar with what's going on here, you know, ETFs have been front and center at the conversation for crypto for a very long time now, for a majority of this year at this point, because, you know, throughout this bear market, people are like, hey, why would we see another crypto bull run? Why would we see prices continue to climb higher? And we've seen an answer for that really start to emerge with ETFs. So if you're not familiar with what an ETF is, basically it's an exchange traded fund. It's a way for people to buy, you know, underlying assets, you know, by buying shares in an ETF. Okay, like you purchase a stock on, you know, through your brokerage account or something like that. You know, we've seen things like gold ETFs in the past. Obviously, if you purchase any index funds or are aware of those are ETFs. But basically, whenever we had a gold ETF, you know, the price of gold skyrocketed for lots of reasons, the ETF being a major one. And now the conversation shifted to like, hey, can we create crypto spot ETFs where people can basically go buy, you know, the underlying assets without buying the cryptos themselves? Now, you might think, hey, why is that such a big deal? Because, I mean, anybody can really just go to, you know, any crypto exchange website and buy cryptocurrency pretty easily, right? But what they're not talking about is, you know, what if you want to buy an insane amount of crypto, like $1 billion? Well, you're probably not going to just sign up for a Coinbase account or a Kraken account or, you know, Binance or something like that, right? And you might say, okay, that's true, but who's really going to do that? Well, that's really what institutional participation in cryptocurrency is about, okay? There are lots of major institutions, which aren't people, okay, not individuals like you or me, who might want to buy billions of dollars of cryptocurrency, okay? And so that's where you have something like, you know, BlackRock and ETFs come into play. You know, they're the world's largest asset manager, okay, with $10 trillion of assets under management, and they have filed for historic Bitcoin spot ETF, you know, earlier this year, and it's been one of the biggest things people are talking about in the crypto space. Now, all eyes have been on Bitcoin, you know, as a result of this, and that's one of the reasons, you know, we've seen the Bitcoin price, do what it's done over the last several months and start to break out of this range right here and actually get above some of these prior resistance levels, it's at its highest price year to date, okay, is because of this ETF. Now, just last week, okay, we saw the news that BlackRock has also filed for a spot Ethereum ETF. And that's exactly what I was just talking about a minute ago. This is the historic watershed moment, not just for Ethereum, but for all of other crypto. I'll talk about that here in a second. And this is one of the big reasons we saw Ethereum also break out of this resistance level, okay, actually get above it, and looks like it's starting to hold it as support, okay, and start to achieve its highest price year to date as well. So, it doesn't take a genius to say that if people are willing to allocate large amounts of capital to this, then, anything that's going to be inside of an ETF, whether it's Bitcoin or it's Ethereum, is going to be in great position for this type of institutional buy pressure that is likely to come once these ETFs are released. Now, you might say, okay, we've got these ETFs, okay, it's cool that institutions might want to purchase this stuff, but why? Why would it still cause the price to go up? Well, again, going back to BlackRock, you have to understand that they are the world's largest institutional asset manager with $10 trillion of assets under management, okay? And so even if 1% of that goes into the crypto markets in general, that can move the needle an insane amount, okay? Anything that has an ETF is going to get exposed to that. Now, of course, there can be trickle-down effects to all of the cryptos because the crypto market's going up, all right? But what you have to understand is BlackRock has a massive team behind it, okay? Who's their clientele? We're talking about large amounts of money, okay? And the teams behind BlackRock basically have lots of incentives to get assets under management, because once you have this product, this ETF, you want it to do really well. You have all these customers, these clients that have lots of money, and they have a massive sales team that wants to see their ETF do well. They also have they get fees for their assets under management. Okay, they have large sales forces, and crypto, I think, is at its time when it actually makes sense for institutions to start participating in this type of stuff and get exposure to it, because the asset class has matured to this point. Obviously, we've had this bear market behind us, but we're starting to see a narrative shift. Larry Fink talking about a flight to quality, okay, including Bitcoin in that list. We're likely to see a lot of that messaging change for institutions, and they're going to be hungry for participation, and that there's lots of infrastructure in place to capture that, and also the incentives. So I definitely think that this can be huge for not just the Bitcoin price, also the Ethereum price, anything that has an ETF behind it, but also the rest of the crypto markets. Because if we start with Bitcoin and then we go to Ethereum, we're probably not going to stop with Ethereum in terms of ETFs. We'll likely see applications for other cryptos. My guess is sooner rather than later. All right. So it wouldn't be a stretch for me to see hey, in a year's time, we at least have applications for maybe a dozen different crypto ETFs with something like BlackRock, like different cryptocurrencies that are either pending ETF approval status or maybe even approved by that point. Okay. And so that gives lots of other possibilities, which is different index funds with crypto ETFs, where maybe you're not buying just a Bitcoin ETF or an Ethereum ETF, or maybe you've got, a dozen other cryptocurrencies that can be part of this weighted basket, and you just buy that, and then you have a broader exposure to the entire crypto market for a weighted basket rather than just individual things. And so that's where I think we're headed. The Ethereum ETF, I think, is proof positive and in direction for that. So that's why this is huge, not just for Bitcoin, not for Ethereum, but the entire crypto markets. And it's one of the reasons I think we've seen a big sentiment shift throughout the space. I think people are trying to front run this opportunity and get in before things get crazy. So that is an overview of the biggest piece of news. Now, let's talk about what has actually happened with the markets and answering the questions hey, is this bear market over? Are we at the beginning of the 2024 bull market? Has it started early? Where's the price going to go? When are we going to break all-time highs? Where do we go from here? Okay. So let me just pull up my notes here, get some water. I'm out of live stream shape. Okay, so let's talk about the markets. So basically, first of all, with the ETF news with Ethereum, we definitely saw a shift in what was happening with the Bitcoin price versus the Ethereum price. All eyes have been on Bitcoin for a very long time, okay? And we started to see that kind of shift last week whenever the Ethereum news came out. Ethereum had a pretty big move. All right, the ETH to BTC ratio, which I don't have pulled up right here, I wish I did, saw a big ratio, has seen a shift. So that basically means the Ethereum price has started appreciating faster than the Bitcoin price. That ratio has been down pretty much all year, and that started to shift, okay? So that shows people, number one, appetite for more risk outside of Bitcoin itself, but also the positive effects of what an ETF can do, on a particular underlying asset. So that's definitely one big shift. But again, like I was saying before, everything has started to pop off, right? We've seen meme coins start to pop off, all that type of stuff. Bitcoin is up over 100% year to date. Ethereum is up nearly 100% in 1 year from peak to trough. Okay, so from the low within the past year to the high, it's like 45-ish%, so almost 50%. Let's see here. Solana, all right, is up 5x. All right, year to date. Let me see, you got 5x. But most importantly, I want to talk about the technicals, okay? So again, I'm not a huge proponent of technical analysis and trying to forecast exactly what's going to happen with cryptocurrency price moves, but I do think they're pretty helpful when you're looking at, hey, what's the current state of the market? And like I was saying before, is basically, Bitcoin's at its highest level all year, but most importantly, it's tried really hard to break above this $30,000 to $35,000 level, and we broke past it with force, okay, in October, all right? Or sorry, at the end of October into November. And we haven't really revisited those levels, and we're showing pretty significant signs of strength in that regard, okay? And one of the reasons for that is we're seeing actual buy pressure. We're seeing volume come into the markets. And with this sentiment shift that I'm talking about, when this volume's come in and there's actual buying demand, there's less selling demand. So if people's sentiment has shifted from hey, maybe this is the beginning of something big, people don't want to let go of their coins, right? They want to hold on to them. And so we have all this volume come in, people buy, and nobody wants to sell. Well, that's a pretty big recipe for, price appreciation, because people are like, oh, hey, we've got these ETFs coming into play. All right. If the big boys are here and we're going to see institutional adoption of this, why do I want to sell my coins now if I think that things are going to get even frothier, like we've seen in crypto bull cycles in the past? So that's a lot of the reason I think that we're seeing this volume come in, and green volume, most notably, not red volume, all right, to push past this. And so the technicals definitely are a good indicator of that. But it's not just the technicals, okay? Everything is showing signs of life. Another proof positive for that is altcoins, not just Bitcoin or Ethereum, are starting to really take shape. Again, let's talk about Solana being up 5x in the last year. It's doubled in price inside a 30-day window, more than doubled in price. That shows an appetite for risk. We're also seeing meme coins, okay? We just saw this one right here, Grok, okay? So basically, this is a meme coin. Elon Musk talked about the AI that they're releasing called Grok, and somebody launched a meme coin about it, okay? And the meme coin, 10x'd in value, inside of a 7-day window, I think a 5-day window. So that also shows you people's appetite for risk. It's not just a total player versus player market. All right, we're already seeing new money come into the space and an increased appetite for risk in that regard. NFTs are the same story. Okay, NFTs are showing signs of life for the first time in a very long time. We've seen some pretty impressive results from airdrops. Okay, airdrops can be a pretty good temperature of the tech check of this, because in a bear market and somebody gets an airdrop, they get free cryptocurrency in their wallet. What do you think they're going to do? Okay, they're probably going to get that free cryptocurrency and just sell it. All right, they're gonna cash out, because they're like, hey, this thing is gonna tank in value. We're in a bear market, and nobody wants to hold anything. But that's not what's happened with some of the major recent airdrops. Okay, so the Celestia airdrop happened within the last week, and what happened to the price of the TIA token? Well, it's doubled in value. Okay, that's another temperature check on people's appetite for risk. If they get an airdrop, they want to hold on to it because they think, well, this might be worth a lot more money than than what I got from the airdrop itself. So I put a video about this out a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, in case you missed the airdrop masterclass, talking about, there's multiple ways to make a lot of money with crypto airdrops. Like in that video, I talked about different strategies for making 10K in crypto airdrops, where basically you could get a $10,000 cryptocurrency airdrop by itself by just like getting it with one wallet or maybe a couple different wallets, and that could add up to 10K. But another strategy is basically like you get a crypto airdrop that's worth like $1,000, okay, and you hold on to it and it goes up 10x. Well, that's a way to make 10K. And people usually only do that type of thing when they think the entire crypto market is going up over the long term. And I think that's a pretty good indication of what we're seeing here, like with the TIA token. So if you're not familiar with the Celestia project either, it's a pretty cool crypto project. I'm going to put a video out about it probably on Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe, check it out. It's basically an idea of how you can mash up different crypto technologies, sort of homebrew your own, I'm going to call it super chain. Okay. So definitely check out that video when it comes out. Okay. So let's talk about my view on the overall markets. That's what's happening from a technicals perspective. Okay. When it's sort of analyzing the signs of life that are happening inside the crypto space. So let's answer the question, like, is the bear market over? Is the bull market here? Well, the first thing I want to highlight, in case you haven't been following me over on Twitter, is, I've been posting, different views about this from most people pretty much ever since the summer. All right. So let me just pull up this tweet here. And I tweeted about it at the beginning of October. So, stuff in crypto has had a real 180 in the last month, okay? And particularly in the last week or so. But at the beginning of October, I was already kind of starting to talk about how things are starting to feel different. One of the big, let's see here. One of the big popular views was that September was going to be a red month for crypto. And at the end of September, I was like, hey, it was not red. And I put this tweet out there at the beginning of October saying this. All right, so picture this, right? Bitcoin hits $40,000 to $45,000 of Q4 of 2024. So like November, December. And you look back on 2023 and realize it's been a bull trend the whole time. All right, so I said at the beginning of October, let's look at where the price was in October, like when I put this out, was basically here, right before this move. So if you like chop that off and then look at what was happening, throughout this time period, a lot of people's bias was that, Bitcoin in particular was going to hit this $35,000 level and not break above it. So maybe like crypto would just go sideways the whole year and altcoins would bleed, or maybe it would like hit that level again and then ultimately just go back down, and we'd have to have this chop, up and down volatility before we had any type of bullish confirmation. But that's not what happened. We broke with force above that level. And if you go back and look at all of 2023, okay, let's just pull that up. All of 2023. All right. Let's just do year for now. It looks like a bull trend. All right. But if you're looking at it from this, you may not think so. All right. But zooming out, like I was just saying, it looks like a bull trend. So that's what I said in October. That's where we are now. Now, that being said, we're not at the $40,000 to $45,000 level. Obviously, I didn't get that right. We could be within the next, how many days we have left in Q4. Let's just call it, 45 days. But even if we don't quite hit that, like 38K is pretty close to 40. And I think the sentiment of what I'm saying is true. We're basically like, Bitcoin did something that nobody thought it was going to do. Forcefully broke above those price levels. You look back at the year and it looks like it's been a bull trend the whole time. And that's what I think has clicked in people's minds, despite the fact that we haven't hit that $40,000 to $45,000 price level yet. And so what that's done is it started to trigger some disbelief in people's minds. It has to like shake up what they think is true, where they thought, hey, everything's gonna go back down, or it's gonna be sideways. We have to wait a lot longer before we get this like perfect entry handed to us on a silver platter, to where we know the bull run is just gonna start now. So that's not what happened. So they have to force to shift their beliefs. Okay. And when they see big news like, hey, we're probably going to get a spot Ethereum ETF relatively soon. It's like, oh, whoa, that's big. Okay. Then they start to see price start to move. Okay. Ethereum breaks back above $2,000. Solana hits $50. Altcoins making double-digit price gains. NFTs pumping. DeFi yields going up. They're like, whoa, something's different here. I have to change my belief. And that, I think, is the sentiment shift that has happened in people's minds. So, I've seen that in social media. If you watch Twitter or YouTube or anything like that, you've watched the sentiment shift happen. People are optimistic and bullish for the first time in a very long time. So I think the safest thing to say is that the general view, the general bias has switched. Okay. So the general bias for the past, 18 months at least has been bear market, maybe infinite bear market. Like things are going to get worse. And I think last week was the major 180 shift to where a majority have a positive outlook. The majority think, oh, there are bright things ahead and maybe it's here sooner than I think. So that's what that's my read on sort of the general overview. The ETFs is going to be a big part of this, obviously. And when people start to see this, like it becomes confirmation for their beliefs. When they see news, when they see price start to go up, it becomes auto-catalytic, where there's essentially like a feedback loop. Like, oh, this is crazy. I'm underexposed. I'm not in the markets. I want to get ahead. And they start buying, and that adds buy pressure. And we've got reason to believe. Okay. And not just that, we've got Thanksgiving coming up in the United States pretty soon, in about 10 days. And that's going to be a time when people are around non-crypto, normies, so to speak, friends and family. And I think that could be a way to disseminate some of this news as well that will wake more people up who aren't glued to YouTube and also, social media or any outlet online where people are talking about crypto. So that being said, what do I personally think is going to happen next? Well, in terms of the present moment, again, what I'm willing to hang my hat on and say for sure is that the sentiment has completely shifted, that risk appetite has completely shifted, that the general view is that, there are lots of reasons to be optimistic about the future of crypto as opposed to 18 months ago, even though I've been optimistic this entire time. But that, it's not just me. I can't be the only person that way. We have to get, sort of all of Team Crypto on the same page. And I think that has started to happen. The scales have flipped. Maybe it's not everybody, but I think it's pretty safe to say that majority has that sort of medium to long-term view now. Now, that being said, that branches off into multiple possibilities. So one of those is that, we have something like a 4-year cycle, just like we've had before. Okay. There's others that I'll talk about here in a minute. But that's sort of like the consensus view that crypto, holds these mysterious 4-year cycles that, are loosely based upon the Bitcoin halving. Some people say it's based upon liquidity cycles. Okay. And so again, I don't necessarily have a crystal ball on exactly what's going to happen in terms of like, is a 4-year cycle going to play out? I think there's a good case that it may not play out, but it actually may be better than a 4-year cycle. I'll talk about that here in a second. But if we do get some type of 4-year cycle, we're not going to be able to just like continue to go up only for the next, 24 months. It's just not going to happen. Like if we had the same price appreciation, that would make, at the same rate, that would put Bitcoin somewhere in the neighborhood of like $500,000 in 2025. Now, again, you always have to think about these things from the possibilities, probability. I just don't think it's that probable that Bitcoin's going to be worth $500,000 in 24 months. Now, I would love to be proven wrong. If that happens, great. I just don't think it's very likely. So if we see, Bitcoin put in diminishing returns over time, okay, to whereas we got like a 3x from prior all-time high in the last cycle, let's say it had a 2x roughly from the prior all-time high in this cycle. Yeah, it's going to put Bitcoin about $120,000 to $130,000. If that happens and we're on a 4-year cycle schedule, then we will likely have to have some type of cool off. Now, if you've been in any type of crypto cycles before, those cool offs typically come when people get really excited and over exuberant. Okay. Sort of like the whole idea of like be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. Well, the appetite in the market is definitely one of greed right now. And so if that's any indication, and we do have some pullbacks and we do stay on a 4-year cycle, then a pullback could be pretty soon. All right. We could see a correction, maybe some consolidation around here, a dip, so to speak. So that would be required if we stay inside this 4-year plan. If Bitcoin's going to roughly, 2x, optimistically 3x from its prior all-time highs. Okay. Now, another possibility is that, the crypto sentiment has shifted and we do make new all-time highs, but we make them a lot sooner than people think. And this is an idea that I've actually been entertaining. So again, not financial advice. I'm not hanging my hat on this. I'm not forecasting this as an official prediction. Again, I'm always thinking about these things in terms of possibilities, but I do think there's a possibility that Bitcoin actually breaks its 4-year cycles and we see a new sort of all-time high sooner than people think, and that Bitcoin puts in its, new top potentially sometime relatively early in 2024, which is not what a lot of people are expecting. So why could that be the case? Well, number one, if we start to see these ETF approvals, happen soon, let's see, I had a news story pull up here a minute ago, but, I don't have it pulled up, but I did see, Larry Fink, the CEO from BlackRock, being optimistic about some of these ETF approvals happening in January. Like if that happened in January, maybe there's a sell the news situation, but if that actually attracts new flows of capital, that could cause Bitcoin to break its all-time high, maybe even before the Bitcoin halving, which is scheduled for April in 2024, or around the Bitcoin halving. And that's ahead of schedule for a 4-year cycle. That would make it go faster than anything we've seen in the past. Okay. So that's one way to think about it. The other way to think about it is the general market sentiment. The market feels more excited at this point in a 4-year cycle than it ever has in the past. Okay. Again, you can't just copy and paste the past and put it on the present moment, try to forecast the future. But what I will say is that, the pace at which the market is moving feels a lot more to me like stuff that happened in 2020. Okay. And if you're trying to look at 4-year cycles, like that's like the tail end of the cycle before it starts to hit its, mania phase. Like, so if we're in a 4-year cycle, and you try to copy and paste this onto what happened last time, you're having to look at analogies of what happened at the tail end of 2019. And I'm here to tell you, it still felt like a ghost town at the end of 2019. We saw DeFi start to pop off. We saw things like Aave and synthetics start to make moves, but we didn't start seeing like DeFi summer and all this craziness and NFT start to pop off really until like mid 2020. Okay. We didn't start to see, Ethereum and these other coins break out of their technicals to look like a bull run until mid 2020. And we didn't start seeing things really go up fast, okay, until the end of 2020. Like Bitcoin breaking above its 50% level from its prior all-time high. That didn't happen until, mid to end of 2020. And that's a lot more like what's happening now. Okay. So, let's just look at that. That was basically like here. Okay. And if you see what happened here, that was only a few months before this happened. Okay. And at the end of, 2020 and 2021, things went up really quickly. Like it was clear that things started to change, but then they changed even more and things went parabolic really fast. So if you were at the beginning of 2021 and Bitcoin broke its all-time high in December of 2020, and people are like, oh, this is awesome. We've got this just like textbook, bull run ahead of us in 2021 where it'll just slowly kind of like make this hockey stick up and like we'll just expect this blow off top in November, December. But that didn't happen. Like we basically got our blow off top in the spring. right after it broke the all-time high, 3 to 4 months, really 3.5 months after that. Okay. It wasn't like a 12-month thing. So it really felt ahead of schedule. And there are lots of signs to think that things could be ahead of schedule now. And so those are some of the reasons why I think we could actually speed this process up. Now, again, that's not an official forecast, but it is a possibility. I always think about these things in terms of likelihood. And I've been saying, different things than what most people, the consensus view has been throughout this year. And I like to offer those perspectives because, if you're just going along with everybody else says, you're likely going to end up in a bad situation. All right. So obviously other possibilities are that, we have an infinite bear market and this is just a rally and like crypto's never coming back. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't feel like I have to really justify that one that much. If we have ETFs and we have all this other stuff coming down the pike, I really don't think we'll see an infinite bear market. BlackRock does not want to launch ETFs into infinite bear market. And I think BlackRock alone has the resources to save crypto from going into an infinite bear market. Another possibility is we enter into a crypto super cycle, which a lot of people are looking for during the last one. Part of me wants to believe that could be the case. But at this point in the cycle, I think there's way too much PTSD from prior crypto cycles to really buy into that. Like maybe if we see up only for 2 years and things keep getting better and better, like maybe we could change our view on that. But at this point, it's too early to get on board that train. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Or in the live stream chat. We're live here, so I want to interact with you all. Do you think that we're in a 4-year cycle? Do you think that Bitcoin and crypto can go up faster? Do you think it'd be slower? Are we all just fooled? Are we actually going into an infinite bear market? Let's see. Suppose the higher lows look great on the macro chart. Yeah. Four-year cycle, it's different this time, is said all the time, yeah. Up only from here, especially as they control the market. Yeah, totally. So Alden thinks that we're still in the 4-year cycle. So again, it's very possible we still stay on this side of this 4-year cycle sort of thing. I mean, the votes in favor of a 4-year cycle to me, again, I don't think, there's a lot of view that the 4-year cycle is all around the Bitcoin halving, okay? That, Bitcoin reduces the amount of Bitcoin that hits the market by half every 4 years. And that's like this mysterious mechanism that causes the markets to go up. I don't really buy it. Maybe it's a factor, but you have to understand, like, this is, everything runs on basic supply and demand economics. And if you only reduce the supply by a little bit, and you're not actually reducing the supply, you're reducing the rate at which new supply hits the market, right? It's a really small amount, okay? What really matters way more is massive influx of demand, like way more buyers coming in than sellers, okay? And to me, the Bitcoin halving is really not enough to justify that 4-year cycle view. Now, that being said, there's still lots of other, sort of things that can support a 4-year cycle. But that being said, it's not, if that were the case, it wouldn't be like an exactly pre-programmed 4 years, easy mode. Here's when it's going to start. Here's when it's going to end. I think that 4 years is enough time, okay, for like the foundations for a new market expansion to happen. Okay. Well, why is that? Well, if prices crash, like people need time, number one, to make more money, but number two, to like actually have the appetite to do something like that again, if it's the same people coming back. Okay. That's one reason. Number two is that if you're going to build a cycle and an expansion based upon catalysts, well, you need time to develop those catalysts, whether it's technological change, that doesn't happen overnight. If it's things like institutional adoption and ETFs, there's all this red tape of going through those filings and getting them approved. That doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. Okay. And things like economic conditions, like what we've seen really be a big part of the last cycles, it takes time for those things to improve. And so, 4 years is a good amount of time for a lot of those factors that cause markets to shift in the wrong direction to improve and for them to shift in a new positive direction. So I think there's a lot of merit to a 3 to 4 year shift to occur in the crypto markets. But again, if that's true, then what I was saying, my second point about things going up faster, maybe it doesn't quite take 4 years. Okay. And people who are just waiting for these mysterious numbers, length of time to get hit are going to be disappointed if things improve faster than they hoped. So please consider building a naming service like ENS, like a tutorial. Yeah, maybe we could do that. Somebody said something on my nose. There might be some lint or something like that. The new blockchain is out, EXZO. Haven't heard of it. So Anthony says he's bullish. But if they join the masterclass, will they have access to all the masterclasses? Yes. All right, everybody. I'm going to go and wrap it up there for today. So this was a great live stream, emergency live stream. Maybe we'll start doing these regularly if things continue to get crazy. Maybe every day, maybe once a week. Let me know what you want to see down the live stream notes and live chat here if you're watching the replay in the replay section. I want to hear from you. Did you like this? Do you want to see more content just like this? Again, I've got some more videos coming out about Celestia, like I was talking about, more about the BlackRock ETFs. These are going to be huge for Ethereum. Yeah, lots of exciting stuff to talk about. And if there's enough demand from you all, then hey, we can start doing some streams again. So that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. There will be videos out so that we can learn about blockchain. And if you want to front run this opportunity and get ahead of the next crypto explosion, I can become a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Okay. You really have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.